It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Jake Schaff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. Recently, the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society has been taking residents on guided educational tours all throughout several historical spots in Greater West Bloomfield. One of those places being the incredible Pine Lake Marina. I was there at the tour that night to hear what residents were able to take away from this journey through history.
Oh, we had a terrific exchange of information. People that are interested in a little bit of history behind Pine Lake and the marina, as well as the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. Hopefully they learn about the Girls Friend Society, which was also on the lake. We also talked a little bit about the motor club that eventually turned into the Pine Lake Country Club. So we learned about that as well, and as well as the history of the marina itself. Recreation and boating, and thus the inception or the creation of the marina is a mainstay here on Pine Lake.
What stood out the most to you tonight out of everything you learned?
I was really interested to hear that there was an interurban railroad. I had no idea about the light rail system that used to be here, and kind of wish it was still here because it sounds really great to be able to hop on a trolley and just to go to Pontiac or Detroit. And just really interesting to learn about the progression of things and how we see those footprints around us still. Yeah, so it was a really interactive program. We got to be in a beautiful marina and see the lake and meet people and hear about their own personal stories and history of their families and experiences that they've had. And it's just really cool to walk, into somewhere that you've driven past and didn't really think about and know that it's history right here.
The whole township is very old and it holds lots and lots of history. There's so many historical events and buildings and peoples and societies that have existed here in the township for all these years. And it's so terrific that the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society brings to light all of the rich history that we all share.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really an untapped resource that we have in our community that people don't realize. There are these amazing people, amazing volunteers, and amazing resources all around us, and really, gives you a view of the history that you're standing on and driving by, and just really contributes to a richer understanding of your world.
There's history everywhere you look in Greater West Bloomfield. Stay up to date with all of the fun events that are coming up with the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society on gwbhs.org. And you can check out all of their past exhibits that they've had recently on civiccentertv.com, including the recent trip to Apple Island. This Friday, the West Bloomfield Lakers prepare to face Birmingham Groves in another exciting football match and are entering this game with two important goals: to continue their undefeated winning streak and to claim their revenge from their matchup last year. Every single one of the West Bloomfield Lakers is getting ready to handle the Friday Night Lights once again, including defensive back Kalik Robinson, who has had an incredible start to this football season. Our very own Tyler Keefe recently spoke with Kalik to hear what he's preparing himself for going forward.
I'm Tyler Keefe alongside defensive back Kalik Robinson. The Lakers 4-0. Defense has been on fire these first 4 weeks, limiting the amount of points going on the board. Always a good sign. And the secondary's played a huge role in that. Very tough so far for teams to complete any passes For you personally, no quarterback's been able to complete a pass to any wide receiver in these first 4 weeks, Kalik. What's been, in your opinion, the difference maker for you shutting down these really talented core of receivers you've matched up against?
I feel like if I shut down the receivers, my team could do what they want to do because, if they don't got to worry about the ball being thrown, we don't got to go in no zone. We could go man, so everybody could be in the box. It'd be 9 players in the box, and me, BT, could just strap up our receivers.
Preparation, I'd imagine, plays a big role in that. How does it help having the amount of talented weapons on the offensive side for this team and getting you and the other defensive backs, others in the secondary, prepared for these tough matchups week in and week out?
It helped us a lot because, we got to go get tall receivers, short receivers, tall receivers like Willie, short receivers like Cam. He fast. So, it gives us preparate for the week. We prep them for good DBs, but, they haven't seen no DBs like us. So, on both sides, we both good.
From a technical standpoint, what do you believe about this secondary overall, the DBs especially, that makes them such a tough matchup for these receivers?
Our team chemistry, we hype, we all together. So, we mess up, we picking each other up. We not bashing nobody. We pick each other up. We next rep, good play, bad play, next play.
How's that different than in years past? Because we hear that every year from players in the secondaries, secondary players on the defensive line, offensive weapons as well, that they have a really tight-knit group. But there seems to be something different in the locker room this year. What is it?
This year, everybody friends. Last year, it was really groups. Everybody had their groups, but everybody really together. I don't think nobody's by themselves. Everybody, we all friends. Everybody talk to everybody. Team chemistry is high. I say that's what our team is.
Kalik Robinson joins me on This Week in Laker Football. The Lakers 4-0, and for the first 4 weeks, only allowing 22 points, 16 of them last week, 6 of those without any time left on the clock. A penalty late in that Lake Orion game led to a touchdown with time expired because games can't end off of a penalty. So 22 points in 4 weeks, pretty good average for the team, Kalik. But you've been able to see a lot of football in your 3 years now on varsity, 2 years as a starter. So you can talk about the chemistry and the leadership in the locker room. How have you taken a step forward this season, and what difference do you think you've been able to make with some of the younger players on this defense?
This year, I'm more vocal. I'm more talking to my players, talking to my little players. Last year, I was way quiet because I was kind of one of the young players. It's I didn't really want to talk to nobody. This year, I'm more talkative to my players that's younger, that's going to build us up. So I think that's what's a big change for me.
It's something we hear from a lot of players as they get into leadership roles as juniors and seniors, that they've kind of taken their time to sit back and soak it all in. How have those past 2 years, as you've been doing that, helped you prepare for the pressure of being in a leadership position on top of the pressure of your role on this defense?
The pressure was high, especially last year. It was high for me. It was my first year starting, and I had some players got on me. So, but my first year on varsity, we had Jameer and Bryce. They was a big role. They was some big brothers to me for sure. They basically our role model. That's what we look up to. That's what we want to keep the tradition, keep going of the DBs, because we come out DBs like Maxwell Harrison, straight dogs. So the pressure on us is very high.
And we see at all different levels of football, there's a certain level of confidence that defensive backs and safeties have, that especially when they're playing at such a high level. On your back plate, you have a message: you shall not pass. That's a lot of confidence to bring in and week out, especially with those pictures posted on social media. Every receiver you go up against is going to see, this is the guy, that's the you shall not pass guy. So what role does confidence play in your ability to make plays every single week and take that pressure off of yourself because you believe you are fully prepared?
As DBs, you have to have confidence. We make one mistake, it's on us for the rest of the game. So you got to have the confidence. You got to have the swag. You got to go out there like you're the best. Even if it's, you feel me, the biggest player, the best player out there, you got to go in there with confidence. And no matter who lined up against, you got to go out and do what you got to do. So you shall not pass. That's to any receiver, no matter who you is.
So we were here 2 years ago in the state semifinal against Southfield A&T. Big expectations coming into last season, 5-6 record. Got a couple weeks into the playoffs, but didn't go very far after a Catholic Central loss in that second week of the playoffs. So as much confidence as you have, as prolific as this defense, and really on all three phases the team has been in these first 4 weeks, how do you keep this younger locker room focused and collectively the team focused on the task at hand and not get overconfident while maintaining that confidence that you just described you need to win football games?
We tell each other 0-0 every week. Even though we win a game, it's still 0-0 because you don't know what the next team got. The team could look trash that one game, but they could look good the next game. But we got to have confidence in ourselves. We could be confident in our area. Out there, the social media, that's not it. But our confidence is in our team, so we out there every week and show our best.
You can stay up to date on all of your Lakers sports news on civiccentertv.com/LakersSports. Tyler Kieft and Matt Catoni will be back in the booth this week calling all of the action and hopefully another victory for the Lakers. Once again, civiccentertv.com/LakersSports for all of your West Bloomfield football news. This Sunday, September 28th, the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield will be holding their Out of Africa dinner and auction at the Pine Lake Country Club. The event supports programs that offer health services, educational opportunities, and life-saving resources to children in need and raises funds and awareness for Omni's mission of providing essential medical care for vulnerable children in Zambia. Marlon Mackey of the Rotary Club recently joined us on the Splash Live to tell us all about it.
Ms. Mackey, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you on to talk about this. It's an annual fundraiser. It's one of the biggest fundraising opportunities of the year that is put forth by the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield. Tell us a little bit about what people can expect if they show up on September 28th to the Out of Africa fundraiser.
Well, we are having, as you know, we're having a dinner at Pine Lake Country Club, also a silent and live auction, during which there will opportunity to buy raffle tickets for a 50-50 raffle. And there will be many opportunities for people to show their support for the kids that we're trying to help.
And it all goes to support an organization called Omni. Give us a little bit of information, some insight for those not familiar with this, haven't gone to the fundraiser, haven't heard of it on our programming and in other places in past years. What does Omni do that makes the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield put its support behind them year in and year out?
Well, first of all, the acronym OMNI stands for Orphans Medical Network International. And right now we are working very hard in Africa and have been there for the last 20-some years. And so but we are supporting the most vulnerable and impoverished children that you could imagine. And we are trying to get them and their communities every possible help so that they have a viable future.
So what inspired this? It's, as you said, almost 20 years or over 20 years that this fundraiser has been ongoing with the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield. What inspired the beginning of raising funds for this organization that does work far and beyond the confines of our community?
Well, as you know, Rotary is service above self, and Rotary aims to help all people in many different communities, and often they have an international project, and that's what this one is. My husband has been with this organization for some 20 years, almost since its beginning, and it started out with the team of medical missionaries going over to Africa and ended up with a much broader scope than it has now.
We did talk to Dr. Mackey just before the Michigan Week Awards in May of this year, and part of our conversation with Dr. Mackey was about his experiences going to these parts of Africa, going to Zambia in particular to help Omni with some of these services. So for those that aren't familiar with the end cause of why this is being supported by the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield, you raise all these funds, you send them to Omni. How do they help with the boots on the ground in places like Zambia, helping out these kids?
Well, I don't know if it's general knowledge, but in Zambia, in order to go to school, the children must be able to buy the uniform, and their parents have to belong to the PTO. Well, if you're an orphan, you obviously don't have that opportunity. And even worse, if you have parents who are alive and they're poor, you still don't have that opportunity to go to school. So the cycle of poverty just kind of repeats itself over and over again. So what now? We have a school over there in which we have 365 children that attend there. And almost every person there, well, they're chosen by need. So 50% of the children have lost one or both of their parents. They all face chronic hunger, they lack medical treatment, and cannot afford to attend the public school. So what we do is we try to take in the most vulnerable of all of these children, give them an education, and a hot meal every single day. We give them food to take home on the weekend, which we'll tell you a little bit more about that. They get a school uniform for free twice a year. They get shoes on their feet, which is a big way of preventing a lot of diseases. They get treated mosquito netting for their homes because they don't live in homes like you and I. They live in huts that have dirt floors, no heat, no electricity, and no furniture. So they're very, very poor people. So the money that we raise, we right now try to sponsor at least 20 children. So we have a grant with the Rotary that will help us out, but we must raise at least $5,000 in order to do our part of that grant. And luckily, we have been fortunate in the past years to be able to raise more than that, so we've been able to do a whole lot more than just 20 kids. Each child sponsorship for 1 year is $420, which is not a lot of money.
Yeah, for 20 kids each, that goes a long way to be able to help almost a full classroom's worth of children, especially if you exceed that baseline goal of 20. That is a significant amount of orphan children in Zambia that are going to be able to have that education, that those medical needs being met as well, and so many of these other services. Marlon, you and your family have participated in this for many of these last 20 years, if not every single one of them in some capacity. So you are uniquely familiar with how Omnis work on the ground and how these fundraisers help these communities across the globe. But for those that join in on these fundraisers, maybe they did last year or a couple of years ago, maybe they are going to for the first time this year on September 28th at Pine Lake Country Club for this particular year's fundraiser. What typically is the reaction from those that go to this event and learn more about Omni's work when they learn just how far their dollar is going when they donate by coming to this event?
Well, I think people start to realize when they hear the stories of the children and their families, of which there are many stories you can imagine, when they start to hear these stories, they realize how lucky we were to be born in the country that we are in, and that these children have nothing and they will not get anywhere unless they get an education and have someone help them just get out of that spiral. So all of the money that we raise, every penny of it goes for the kids. Anybody in the United States that works with Omni is a volunteer. No one is paid for anything. On the years that the medical team's over, each person on the medical team paid their own way, their own airfare, their own hotel, their own food, and then ended up donating more money, usually while they were there because they saw a need and just jumped in and said, here, I'll put more money into that. So you know your money is going to help somebody for sure.
And that's what's important here, is that the money and the fellowship from this organization and from your organization with the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield, it actually goes to help actual people. It's not done for a photo op to get missionaries out there for their own purposes or for advertising and marketing. This is legitimately helping people in legitimate need in places that are in vulnerable situations, like the orphans that are in these scenarios in places like Zambia. Marlon Mackey is with us from the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield on today's edition of the Splash Live, their annual Out of Africa fundraiser helping Orphan Medical Network International, or Omni. September 28th begins at 4 p.m. Pine Lake Country Club in West Bloomfield. The auction, silent and live, begins at 4 p.m. Drawings at 7:30 p.m. with a dinner and a whole lot of fun in between all of that. More information on westbloomfieldrotary.org, or follow them on Facebook at West Bloomfield Rotary as well. Marlon, this all goes back to the overall mission of the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield, something that the people will also be able to learn about by attending this fundraiser. So how does it fit the vision of the Rotary Club? Of course, you mentioned the motto being service above self, but also help to tie the community here locally closer to that mission as well.
Just so you would know, in this past year, the past 2 years, there's been a drought, and the people didn't have enough problems being with poverty. Now they couldn't even grow crops. So we have done a lot of things there, like drilling more wells, making fresh water available to the community. We built the police station on our property so that we have increased security for our children. We just completed this week a gender-based violence counseling center to help combat the domestic violence that is quite rampant over there in Zambia. But anything that people can do to help out is very much appreciated. And we have pictures to show and stories to tell. So we hope that you can come and join us.
We do as well, Marlon. We know it's a very busy part of the year for people. They have a lot going on this fall between their kids in school, family events, the holidays, and all of that. So if they're not able to attend this fundraiser on September 28th, what are some other ways they can get involved, either with the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield or helping out Omni in the near future?
Well, they can always look on our webpage, as you gave the directions for that. They could buy raffle tickets. We have raffle tickets for a 50-50 raffle that are $20 a piece. And there's going to be a winner. Last year's winner took home over $2,000. We also have sponsorships for children. So anybody can sponsor a child for $420 a year or $35 a month, if you care to do it that way, and give another child, besides the ones that we hope to sponsor, another child personal life. These kids are so thankful for that recent trip to Zambia, a little girl came up to my husband and said, "Would you please sponsor me? My friends have a sponsor. I don't have a sponsor. Could you please sponsor me?" And of course, he said, "Yes, he will." So her name is Priscilla, and she's one of the children that we've sponsored now. She's now going into the 9th grade. Wow. So there's, if you look on the Rotary webpage, there are ways that you can donate there also. Just cash donations of any kind are always welcome because we have so much to do. And as I said, we have branched out into so many different areas, coming from a medical mission to now having a school. We feel responsible for every single one of those children, but we also are working with the community to develop their resources, small businesses, and we give them vocational training. We even have adult classes at night at our school to help them. The ones that have never gotten the chance to go to school can now learn how to read as an adult. So we just feel that our mission is quite valuable.
Your service and your patronage goes a long way to help real people in tough situations all over the globe, all in the name of supporting a good cause from right here, close to home in greater West Bloomfield. Marlon, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for that.
Once again, the Out of Africa dinner and auction will be taking place at the Pine Lake Country Club on Sunday, September 28th. Big thank you to Marlon Mackey for taking the time to talk with us on the Splash Live and for telling us all of the great things that the foundation is doing to help those kids. Lots of great events and developments are on the horizon at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. The main branch recently finished their brand new Comfort Room, which is now available to the public and will be holding several fun events in the coming weeks, including a book club reception with author Lisa Unger. Here to tell us what's in store at the library is the Marketing and Communications Specialist for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Victoria Edwards. Victoria, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course, great to have you back with us. Now, as I was saying, lots of great events and big changes are here with the library, including their brand new Comfort Room, which was just unveiled very recently. Can you share what inspired the idea and what role that it's going to serve for patrons?
Yeah, we have had parents asking us for a while for a space that they can nurse their babies privately. And we've also seen an increased need over the years for a space for children who are overstimulated to decompress and kind of get out of the hustle and bustle of our youth area, especially when we have some really big events that draw a lot of crowds out to the youth space. It can be a little overwhelming for kids who might have some sensory processing challenges, or some adults, frankly, too. So we designed this space for both those needs in mind. It's both a sensory-friendly room and a lactation room, and it's just off the side of our family restrooms at the main branch's youth area.
All right, that's fantastic to be having those resources available to help those people visiting the library. And I am curious, how does the library gather input from the community when planning new editions like this one?
Yeah, this was something we've had many requests for over the years, so we've always kind of had this design in mind, because anytime patrons ask our staff for something repeatedly, staff are able to make those suggestions to our management team and our administration, and we keep those suggestions in mind. Really, our community input is at the fore of everything that we do. So that's a big role in things. We've also, in 2023, we conducted a community needs assessment that's been a major player in a lot of our design decisions throughout the library. So that helped us craft some of the our priorities for the coming years. Sorry, my cat's trying to get in the frame here. That's what I get for working from home today. So yeah, we have a number of different priorities that you can see reflected across our building changes. For example, some of the renovations that we've done outside, including on our storybook terrace, the youth terrace right outside of our youth area. That came at the recommendation of our community on our community needs assessment. We saw a lot of our families had a high priority of adding more enrichment activities to our outdoor spaces, especially post-pandemic, and that was a need that we wanted to make sure we met as well.
Awesome. Great to be getting that community input and to be making the library a much better place every single day. And in your view, how would you say this development reflects the library's mission to serve the West Bloomfield community?
Well, I mean, we're always trying to keep all of our patrons in mind. The library is here for everyone. We're here to serve our full community. And we want to make sure that nobody feels left out or like the library doesn't meet their needs. So we want to make sure families can come to the youth area, and if there's something that takes them away from that space, we want to try to eliminate those barriers. So that includes making sure we have a private space for lactation, that we have a space for kids with some sensory processing challenges to regulate themselves a little better. So.
Glad to hear of all the work that you're doing to help out the West Bloomfield community. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with Victoria Edwards of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, talking about some of the new developments and upcoming events with the West Bloomfield Library, including you guys are going to be holding a book club reception with author Lisa Unger in just a few short weeks. Talk a little bit about that. What makes that event so special for readers and the community?
Yeah, so October is National Book Group Month, and every year to celebrate, we host an author here at the main library. And this year, we were able to get New York Times bestselling author Lisa Unger, which we're really excited about. She's written, she's basically writing a book a year at this point. So she's written, The Confessions on the 745, The New Couple on 5B, Close Your Eyes and Count to 10, Secluded Cabin, Sleeps 6, little tongue twister. And she's going to be coming out to talk about books and celebrate book groups with us. So the book club reception, we always invite the community's registered book clubs out to that event first and foremost. So we've sent out invitations already, and we have some space remaining for other members of the public to come to that event and just enjoy a conversation about books and communing with other neighbors who have similar interests.
I love it, and it sounds like this is going to be a very engaging event for all of the reading lovers in the community. How would you say book club events like this one help foster a sense of community among readers?
Yeah, I think honestly, it's really important to build connections with our neighbors, and I think nothing brings people together more than literature. I think having conversations around the things that we're reading help us dive deeper into the concepts that we're reading about, the characters, the plots, and understand ourselves a little bit better through those, and understand our neighbors and our community and other perspectives as well. So what better way to do that than talking about books?
That's absolutely right. And you've got a great author coming with Lisa Unger. That's going to be so great for everyone to be able to meet her. I am curious, what goes into the process of choosing which authors or speakers to bring in for events like this?
I'm not the one most involved in that process, but I know we're always thinking about what our community reads first and foremost and trying to make sure that we draw in authors who appeal to those interests. We have a large community of readers who enjoy mystery and suspense novels, so this fits with that. And Lisa Unger is a trending author right now, so yeah.
That's absolutely right, and that's going to be so much fun for everyone to be looking forward to on October 6th. That's going to be so much fun for everybody. And I am curious, Victoria, are there any other fun events or new additions to the library that you could possibly tease for us here on the Splash Live?
Oh, absolutely. Well, we're celebrating this year our 25th anniversary for our main library building. So we have a little sort of cake cutting event that we're doing for that on October 11th. That is the same weekend that the Friends are doing their book sale. So the Friends are doing a used book sale. Friday, October 10th is the first date for that. And that runs through Sunday, October 12th. And so that's always a big draw for the community. If you're looking for used books, that's the best place to get them. We have a number of Halloween events coming up as well. We have a Halloween storybook stroll, which will take place on our storybook trail outside. On Friday, October 24th, families are required to register for that event because we have limited space. But it's basically trick-or-treating along the trail while you get to read our book, themed book for that event. And all of our staff dress up for that, so we're very excited. We have... of course, the Spooktacular Storytime event is also coming up around Halloween as well. I'm trying to think through. We've got a lot of events happening right now.
Man, is it really that close to Halloween already? That sounds insane to me that we're already this close to the end of October. But all of these sound like so much fun events. I can't wait to see them. I got one more question before we wrap things up, Victoria. How do you see the library's role evolving beyond books and reading, especially with spaces like the Comfort Room and events like this reception?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot because of our 25-year anniversary. I've been diving a lot into the history of our building, and it's changed a lot over the years. One of the biggest things is that the library is not just a repository for books. We've been moving away from that for a long time, but we really reflect a lot of the changes in our community and the shifting needs in our community through the services that we offer. And you can see that in the Comfort Room, in the Storybook Trail, the Storytime Terrace changes that we've made, the Reflection Room that we have, and of course our new Community Commons space, which has a lot of cutting edge technology available. So we teach classes on technology now. We teach like the 3D printers and laser cutters and all sorts of things like this. In addition to having these more traditional services like book clubs and of course being able to check out the books that you're interested in. So I think the library always offers a lot more than people think at first glance, and it's exciting to be able to meet a lot of those needs.
It absolutely is, and we're so grateful to have you guys in our community to be able to provide those needs to everybody. Victoria, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, plenty of great events and so many new additions at the West Bloomfield Library. Hope to see everybody stopping by and checking out what the library has in store. The Dorothy and Peter Brown Jewish Community Adult Day program will be hosting its 9th annual dementia-friendly high holiday service on Sunday, September 28th at 11 a.m. at the Fleischman Residence Chapel in West Bloomfield. The shortened one-hour service is thoughtfully adapted to support individuals living with dementia and their families, featuring familiar melodies and prayers designed to spark memory and comfort. Debbie Benuni of Gesher Human Services recently joined us on the Splash Live to tell us what people can expect. Debbie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Love to have you with us. Really, really interested in hearing about this service that's coming up soon. This is the 9th year of the dementia-friendly High Holiday service. How has the program evolved since it first began 9 years ago?
So originally when we started with this program, we rotated locations and we had it at different congregations and centers, and we had different people leading the service. And we have found what we think is the ideal location and leader of our service for this time. And for the last few years, we've had it locally at Fleischman Residence. And we've also had the same leader, Cantor Pamela Schiffer, has led the service for us for the last several years. So we've experimented and learned new things and have found what really works for our group to have a meaningful experience.
I love that. You've tested the waters a few times, you've changed the formula a bit, and you've got the perfect recipe for everyone to enjoy the celebration. Now, what inspired the Brown Center to create something like this in the first place, a high holiday service designed for individuals with dementia?
So, working with people that are living with brain changes, we understand different needs that come up. Typically, a holiday service, depending on where you practice and spend your time, could be a 3-hour service, could be a 5-hour service. Most often it's in a sanctuary where the seats are immovable. There are times that the restrooms are further away. So the idea behind creating this service really was about finding a way to accommodate both the people that are experiencing and living with dementia, but also their families so that they could celebrate together. What makes the accessibility easier? What makes the ability to participate and stay for the service more available? So that's really why this service came about.
I love it. Always love to hear about great things to really help everyone in the community, especially those struggling with illnesses. Now, we touched on this just a second ago, but there are some unique accommodations that do help to make this service more comfortable and accessible for everybody. Could you go through some of those accommodations a little bit?
Sure. The first is knowledge. Everybody who's coming to the service, whether they have a diagnosis or they love somebody with a diagnosis or not, we all know that the service is geared toward understanding. So there's a compassion and an understanding between the people leading the service and the people attending the service and one another. And that's huge. The other issue is that we're not set up like a usual congregation in that there are set pews. We actually use chairs. And that way, if somebody has a walking device, a walker or a wheelchair, we're able to move the chairs so that people can sit with their family where they want to sit. We also have a restroom very nearby, so we're not asking people to walk further. We have room for people to stand if they need that movement and things like that. So we try to create an environment that can accommodate as many different needs as we can think of.
I love it. Now, as we said, this is the 9th year that this has been taking place, and there have been many families that have returned year after year to take this experience together. What kind of feedback have you received from them about the impact of this experience?
It is so special to talk with our families that come back year after year. I've had somebody say to me, oh, I knew that we weren't going to be able to go to services anymore. It just didn't fit our lifestyle, and now we're back. This is something that we've done for 50 years together, and we thought we weren't going to be able to do it anymore. I've had people who have come back and said, you know, wow, my family member, my spouse, seems pretty closed in now. The disease has progressed, but they hear these melodies and I hear them singing, and it brings me back to those memories and that special place in our life, and it brings them out of their shell. So we've just had all different kinds of responses. They've all been very positive and pretty emotional too.
I'd imagine it would be a very emotional experience for everybody. For those just joining us, I'm talking with the Senior Adult Services Director for Gesher Human Services, Debbie Benuni, who's talking about the 9th annual dementia-free high holiday service that's going to be taking place at the Fleischman Residence Chapel in West Bloomfield on Sunday, September 28th at 11 a.m. Now, it is important to note that this event it helps people beyond dementia, because you've mentioned that this service also supports adults with physical limitations. How do you design the space to meet their needs?
So it's like what I mentioned to you before. We use chairs and not pews. So if we need to move a chair so that somebody can get in with their walker or with their wheelchair, they can do that. We have entrances on both sides of the area that we're using, what we're considering the sanctuary, and you can get to a restroom going out of either side. Our aisles are larger so that, people are able to ambulate through them. We're just trying to make it as accessible as possible, regardless of what your needs are.
That's right. And you guys are also helping people who might not even be able to be there physically at the event, because you're also offering the service on Zoom to extend the reach to families outside of Metro Detroit. Talk about that for a little bit.
Absolutely. So we find, number one, it depends as people are changing with their dementia diagnosis, right? Is it that getting up and out of bed or getting dressed in the morning is difficult? Is it that being in a car, if we're 10 minutes away or 30 minutes away or 40 minutes away, is that something that makes it more difficult for someone to get there? Somebody who may have gotten a cold or an illness and doesn't want to be around other people, or is afraid to be around other people because they might get an illness that'll be harder for them to recover from. So we go ahead and offer people to join the service by Zoom, and that way they're able to protect their health or continue to recover from whatever health experience they're having, but also to celebrate the holiday and be a part of it.
I love it. Now we've heard what this event means for the families. I'm curious, what does it mean to you personally to see families celebrating the high holidays together in this more accessible setting?
Well, I would say it does a couple of things for me. Number one, it is so emotional. To be able to speak to the people that are coming and felt like they weren't going to have this experience again, and to be able to connect to, the holiest day of the year as a community, that gratitude that I see from people, the engagement when I see some people that I know who tend to be very quiet and reserved, and they're able to pray as a community. For me, that's very emotional and very special, but also it's very energizing. It reminds me why we do what we do and builds me up to continue to do it for another year.
Well, I can't wait to see this event continuing on for many years to come. I got a couple more questions before we wrap things up. And you've touched on this a little bit, but overall, how does this program reflect the mission of the Brown Center and its partnership between Gesher Human Services and Jewish Senior Life?
The whole idea behind the Brown Center is to serve people with cognitive altering diagnoses and their family care partners. And what this service does is it allows us to serve those parties together and allows us to create meaningful engagement between one another and the rest of the community. And it really does show that we're meeting people where they are and we're finding ways to bring them together. And it's really important work that we focus on.
It's the most important thing, and it's great to hear of your focus on everything that you are doing. Where can people go to learn a little bit more information about this event before its date?
So you can always go to our website, brownadultday.org, and if you go to our events tab on that page, you'll see all of the information about the High Holiday Service as well, and some other events that we have coming up to share with the community.
Can't wait to see it. Once again, the event is taking place on Sunday, September 28th at 11 a.m. at the Fleischman Residence Chapel in West Bloomfield. Debbie, thank you so much for joining us today here on The Splash Live.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
A very thoughtful and moving event to help individuals living with dementia as well as their families. We really appreciate Debbie Benuni for taking the time to talk with us here on The Splash Live. On September 30th, an in-person workshop will invite participants to explore how to transform everyday customers into loyal brand advocates with brand love in action provided by Oakland Thrive. Attendees will discover how successful global brands build emotional connections through humanization, personalization, and trust, anchored by consistency, relevance, and innovation. The workshop will be presented by Lydia Michael, the owner and founder of Blended Collective, who recently joined us on The Splash Live to tell us what we can expect.
Lydia, thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Doing well, how are you?
I'm good, thanks for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you on as you are about to embark on this endeavor with business owners in the local area. You're going to be putting on a seminar, Brand Love in Action, How Emotion Wins Hearts and Builds Loyalty. Give us a little bit of an overview of what you'll be presenting to local business owners or others in business looking to improve their marketing skills in particular.
Yes, so it's really more so meant to be an interactive, engaging session for business owners here locally to help them understand how to engage their customer base, not just from a rational and functional basis, but especially from an emotional perspective, right? And this is what brand love is all about. It's about creating this deep emotional bond where your customers and the people you connect with truly feel connected to your organization and to your brand, not just because of what you're selling and the transactions, but more so because of what it makes them feel and what it represents in their lives.
So it's a stronger emotion sort of in those ties than brand loyalty. It's taking that to the next level. So Lydia, as these business owners or these others in business that are looking to improve their skills and make that brand love something that their customers do engage in, why is brand love so much stronger than the simplicity of brand loyalty?
So brand love actually leads to brand loyalty and advocacy. So it's sort of this journey that you're embarking on as an organization where you're leading your customers to be loyal and to be advocates or brand ambassadors of your company. So, today we're in a very crowded marketplace. Products and services can be copied, but it's really, really difficult to copy emotional connections, right? And so when customers can genuinely love a brand, they become advocates, they forgive mistakes, and they stay loyal even when a competitor comes and knocks on their door. And that's the kind of relationship that every organization and brand should strive for.
And so as you have this discussion, you kind of go over two different points that you're going to be exploring that drive that brand love. There are two drivers you describe, emotional and rational drivers. What are the differences between the two, and how do they connect into creating that brand love?
So the emotional and the rational is sort of like the yin and the yang, right? It's sort of the warm and the cold. It's the emotional and the rational in marketing. And the rational side, which again is the functional side, features things like the price, the quality, the convenience, the differentiation. All of those things are the foundation, and that's what helps earn a customer's head, if you will. Now, the emotional drivers are things like intimacy, belonging, trust. Those are the things that capture the heart. And having both is really crucial because a brand is not going to succeed with just focusing on one or the other. When you focus on just the rational and the functional side, you might be respected, but you're rarely liked or loved. But when you focus on the emotional side, you risk losing credibility. So balancing both is really important to make sure that you're building a foundation of desire and affection that then translates to that long-term loyalty.
Lydia Michael is with us from Blended Collective on the Splash Live, talking about brand love, hoping to drive customers into truly having a love for products and for these companies in our local area that are providing either items, services, or both from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. And Lydia, as we talk about this term of brand love, I'd imagine it's even more important for companies that are working specifically in that small business sector on the local level, most of their customers ideally being those in their local area, and then as they conquer that market space, they then move on to others. So how important is that brand love on the local level, especially for our small businesses?
So important. So I actually talk about this quite a bit in the book, and I'm going to include some of those elements in the workshop, but this is my book, Brand Love, here that I published a couple of years ago, and that's sort of as the basis of where this workshop comes from and a lot of the work that we do at Blended Collective. And so when we take a look at the local environment, your small business, local small business here in West Bloomfield or in the area, they very much focus on the loyalty and the retention and sort of that repeat customer, right? That is connected with them, again, beyond that transaction, beyond just what they need in the moment, but really creating that connection locally here on a practical level. So my goal is to leave the businesses with small tangible steps that they can incorporate and understand, how can I build trust? How can I include more of the connection elements in my messaging, and how can I strengthen consistency across the touch points? So this is really something that's not just important for global organizations, but on a local level, I believe it's even more so important because it's all about our community, right? That's who supports us day in and day out.
And so your book, Brand Love, goes through all these different concepts. It goes through the basics. It's a lot of that information that people can come into this particular seminar with to learn more and to get more of the finer details from you and from these discussions. But as you mentioned earlier on, it's going to be more of an interactive discussion than it is a lecture on this concept of brand love. For you personally and for these business owners, why is that dialogue an important element of teaching this concept to our local business owners?
A big part of it is the work itself that I talk about, the emotional connection. It's not just about the transaction, it's about feeling something. And so when I'm hosting this workshop, I want to make sure that I embody the spirit of what this topic and this concept teaches. And so for that reason, it's important that we're not just talking about those things and it's not just a lecture per se, but it's more so an interactive session where businesses can come in and actually work on some of those elements that I'm teaching live in the workshop and really walk away with not just new action items and a little bit of homework, but also understand, how can I implement or incorporate some of those principles in my day-to-day business? What does that look like in my industry and in my business?
So from my notes from our producer, Jake, who booked you on the show for today, you had mentioned that to him that Blended Collective is currently undergoing its own rebranding. So as you're going through that process and you're teaching some of this branding material to other small business owners here in our local area, how are you incorporating some of these concepts into your own rebrand?
Definitely, yeah. We have to lead by example. So rebranding Blended Collective has been a very intentional process. We just celebrated our 8-year anniversary for the company. And so in Brand Love, I write about the importance of blending the rational with emotional, like I said earlier. And that's exactly what we're doing in our rebrand. So on the rational side, we're clarifying our services, tightening up our positioning, and making sure that our messaging is very simple and accessible. And on the emotional side, we're leaning into the feeling of connection, culture, creativity, and really making sure that across all customer touch points, people feel something. They're not just, booking us or hiring us to work with them, but they truly feel something beyond just what we do and really beyond just the look or the new logo. I think the rebrand is really for us about evolving and showing up in a way where people can feel what we're about. And this is exactly what I talk about in the book too. So again, just sort of taking these theoretical principles and bringing them to life through our company.
Brand Love in Action, How Emotions Win Hearts and Build Loyalty with Lydia Michael, an upcoming discussion on September 30th. Lydia, if people want to participate, where is it going to be happening? How can they get involved?
So it's taking place at the West Bloomfield Library. You can register via the oaklandthrive.org website. And for more information about us, you're welcome to visit blendedcollective.com and can find a copy of Brand Love on Amazon or anywhere books are available.
Registration, once again, oaklandthrive.org. Otherwise, you can follow Lydia and her team at Blended Collective on blendedcollective.com. Lydia, before we let you go, anything else that people should be thinking about in terms of Brand Love or this discussion coming up on September 30th as they await the big day?
Yeah, really just start thinking about how can you make sure that your brand and your organization is connecting with people at the core, that you're understanding who your customer is, why they're supporting you, and how you can continue to build that journey with them that leads to loyalty.
Well, Lydia, we appreciate you coming on, and certainly our small businesses appreciate this insight as they continue to try to be competitive on the local level and in the ever-competitive world online as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Brand Love in Action is going to be taking place on September 30th, a very informative event for all business owners. We really appreciate Lydia for taking the time to talk with us here on The Splash Live. The Detroit Crime Commission is celebrating the 10th annual Love Tennis and Pickleball Mixer, showcasing a decade of community engagement and support. And the event is taking place this Saturday, September 27th, and will feature plenty of fun pickleball and tennis matchups, with all proceeds benefiting vital DCC initiatives. Renee Roth and Stephanie Yates of the DCC event recently came on The Splash Live to tell us what residents can expect. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely love hearing about events like this to help bring the community together. Stephanie, I'm going to start with you. This year marks the 10th anniversary of the Love Tennis and Pickleball Mixer. How would you say this event has evolved over the past decade?
Thanks, Jake. The Tennis and Pickleball Mixer has evolved over the past 10 years. By growing every year and changing locations. We started on a grass tennis court called Weston out in Pontiac, and now we are at Pine Lake Country Club by the water. Outside, it's beautiful, and our guests absolutely enjoy coming to Pine Lake for this event. We had about 50 people originally, and now we're close to 100 people that come out and play in our event annually.
Wow, I mean, you could definitely hear how much this event has grown in popularity over time. That is amazing to see. Renee, how would you say hosting this event at Pine Lake Country Club helps to add to the overall experience?
Thanks, Jake. I would say that our lakefront setting, we've got both clay courts and pickleball courts, and having the space necessary to bring in all our new guests has really helped us grow and engage more people. It's an easy setting to get to, and a lot of our patrons just love, watching the sunset afterwards as we have our mix and mingle and our silent auction, and it's just a great place to come out for a good cause.
That's absolutely right. And as I said before, there are great tournament formats with this event. There's tennis team play, and then there's the pickleball scramble. How would you say these formats encourage participation and fun?
So it encourages everybody at different levels to come in and play. You don't have to be a great tennis player or a great pickleball player. You could be a first timer. They can come out there and learn the rules, and it allows for the formats to create kind of a team mentality, so where you're working together as a team, and there's even little prizes involved. So it's a great way to encourage people to get out and have fun, and bring the community together.
That's absolutely right. And I mean, when you say prizes, that's definitely going to garner a lot of attention and a lot of popularity for events like this. And all of this fun and all of this excitement goes towards some incredible causes: Crimes Against Women Initiative and the Safeguard Witness Protection Program. Stephanie, how do the proceeds directly support programs like this?
So the Crime Commission has several initiatives that we focus on throughout the year. Because our committee is mostly women, actually I think it's all women and one man, we chose Crimes Against Women because it makes the most sense. Some of our focus has been on human trafficking, and it's a very big problem. So the women chose that one, and that's where the funds will go for this event, as well as our witness protection program with the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. You'll remember maybe 10 years ago they started the Rape Kit Initiative, so that is why we chose that. It's also focuses on women and crime, and a lot of the initiatives, is a kind of a male-driven focus. So this is more women, and our committee of women chose these two.
Well, it's amazing that all of this fun and all of this excitement is going to be going to some incredible causes along the way. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with Stephanie Yates and Renee Roth, who are involved with the Detroit Crime Commission, talking about the Love Tennis and Pickleball Mixer that's going to be taking place on September 27th at the Pine Lake Country Club, the 10th anniversary of this beloved event. Now, Renee, I would imagine that sponsors play a very, very big role in helping to make events like this successful. What opportunities are available for those who maybe want to help support the cause?
Yes, Jake. Sponsorship opportunities are still available, and they make this cause just so much more special. Each of our sponsorship levels come with an opportunity for marketing and signages and participation in the event. They really help drive our message throughout the community by showing they support us, and they back our causes, and it allows our message to spread throughout the community, which is pretty much one of our ultimate goals from all of these events.
Be such a fun event taking place on September 27th. But that's going to do it for us today here on the Splash Live. Big thank you to all of our guests and for everybody on the team for helping to make this show possible every single day. I've been your host, Jake Schaff, live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.